You know, if we can take it back. You know, if we can take it back, and we can make it work, and we can lay it flat, but we couldn't grow and be where we at. You know, if we can take it back. You know, if we can take it back, and we can make it work, and we can lay it flat, but we couldn't grow and be where we at.
You know what love is, you know what right versus wrong is. When I write verses, the song hits and lifts them high like bong hits. Got a long list of things on my conscience often.
I think one childhood memory I have of hip-hop really was my first hip-hop album that I bought. Actually, I don't even think I bought it. I think someone left it at my house. So the first one I owned, rather, was Arrested Development's album. I forgot the title. It was like 5 months, 3 days, something like that. You know which one I'm talking about. I had Mr. Wendell on it, Everyday People. And I think that's like a big reason why I'm the way I am today. You know, that album was like, it was a good transition from the gospel rap I had heard, you know, coming up, that I didn't have to sneak into my house to like the first hip hop album, you know, and also being a mixed dude, you know, I was raised by a single parent Puerto Rican mom. It was also an ill like window into knowledge of self, you know, into like sort of this black consciousness that I hadn't been aware of prior. So it's such a vivid memory to me, that album and what it stood for, and like these pro-black sentiments that it had, and these really like earthy sentiments too. You know, it had songs like "Children Play with Earth." You know, that type of stuff definitely resonated and stuck with me. You know, as far as family goes with music, coming up, you know, I was left to kind of discover on my own in a lot of ways. You know, like I didn't have a family guide. So when, you know, like people say, oh, you know, my dad always played old records, or, you know, my mom used to sing in this. There wasn't any of that. It was just me being a sort of a musical astronaut, in a sense, just like firing out into the unknown and finding what meant something to me musically, and finding my own path and carving my own lane and digging my own niche as far as what I listened to and what I felt and what I vibed to, and that journey kind of like, it made sure that I had a signature sound later on down the line, you know, because I liked what I liked, and it carved my taste. So family didn't really play a huge role, with the exception of my cousin Tamel. He was a big Fugees head, you know, so that was the second album I had, and Tamel kind of brought in a lot of hip hop into my house.
You and your smoke. Yo, relax and take notes in the moleskin. Unbutton your overcoats and start coasting to the most unnoticed but dope quota of the quotes, to get them open like smoke from the roach clips. From the lips of a crip out in Oakland to the steps of my brownstone and Bed-Stuy. Pound for pound, a spitter with direct ties, with mad respect and charisma to the necktie, and enough charm to last him through the next life. Through an ex-wife, through the headlights, cutting through the fog. It's nothing to the guard. They muskets are in charge. They rusted and they clogged. They busted, I'm disgusted, I'm involved. I hustle, but I'm tougher than the muscles in my arms. For any chump or any sucker with a squad, when it comes to the struggle and the tussle, I'm a dog. As a man, my whole clan understand. We focus on the prize and we sticking to the plan. It's God first, the black woman is queen.
And this is the mastermind right here. Pudge. Now they're on their way over here. We just wasn't enough room in the whip for them.
I layered them up. I'll play you the new version of that. That had me cracking up.
Being a solo artist, the concept of team effort, teamwork, you know, I've been in a couple of collectives and crews and sort of things like that, and even now I'm part of a collective that's more of an arts collective. The idea is, I guess, if one of us eats, we all eat, and that collective is louder to have 8 people yelling your name than you standing on the corner yelling your name by yourself. And so we all thrive and help each other on that regard. But I've always been pretty much a solo artist, solo act. I mean, I don't have a hype man. I don't have a band when I'm on stage. I'm really aware, very conscious of the fact that it's me there, you know, so I put a lot into that.
Early in the AM, sun in the horizon for my mind is on the mayhem. Rhyming cause they pay him, but also rhyming for the climate I'm creating for the minds of those that play him. Never monotone or latent, you can monitor the monster in the making. Mumbling an opus over omelets and bacon. No, I'm taking over, supernova, make it impossible for faking. I don't consider it a conquer till I'm caking, so consider it to haters. To the posture and adjacent, I remain positive when it's obvious I'm aching in pain. And this game of playing who's populous for lame, so rob them of their pride like popping off the chain. I see them like binoculars through frames, not rock with them. Don't care if you rock with them, blog them on your page, not stopping you, I'm chopping them like blades, early, fresh daily.
Ideally, there should be somebody in place whose sole purpose is to be a liaison and get your art to the appropriate agents so that you don't create art with the idea or ideal of using this to make money. You should just create art for the sake of creating the art so that people can hear it and it leaves this indelible footprint for you afterwards, you know what I mean? And people hear it and they feel something, or at least they can be like, yo, remember when you said that? Like, I felt that, like, you know, I go through that too, or, you know. Questlove, Matt and Kim, and Andrew WK, and then I went and did this. I drew my face and added my Twitter. I was like, see this and wonder who this is, and I put my Twitter. And then everyone got really artsy with it. Like, they were like, oh, you can draw on this? And they all got really artsy, which is kind of dope. Build yourself a bridge, get over it. That's life. Fresh daily. Sing it out, yo. I once tried to work for me, but that didn't work for me. Neither did church, there was nothing they ever heard from me. But I'm just learning to approach this work urgently to stay current on expenses with more currency. Pull the curtains, draw the blinds. Play the Coldplay, pour the wine. I need a break from everything. When everything's heavy and my life is really spreading thin, the pressure starts setting in. But here's a promise like a wedding ring. Down in the dumps is never where you were getting. No settling for less, cause fresh is still ahead of them. Youngest of the veterans, the freshest of the OGs. Yeah, it sounds I'll just need an acapella of all three tracks.
Okay.
And the song as a reference. I think my biggest struggle as an independent artist really is really finding a way to monetize what my commercial viability is, you know what I mean? Because right now it's all based on potential, you know, like I've got great collaborations in my catalog. I've done some pretty noteworthy things. I'm probably one of the few indie artists to be featured in XXL twice, same issue. You know, traveled both Europe and here and shared stages and mics with a whole bunch of cats. But I feel like the trick has been to like kind of take those noteworthy things and those accolades, because you know my landlord don't accept accolades, so kind of take those things and sort of monetize them in a way that it doesn't seem cheesy or corny, and at the same time allow me to create art on a level that is pure, but also helps you to pay the bills, you know, right? Because right now it's kind of a give and take, finding a way to kind of like find that healthy balance between getting music out on a massive scale and letting a lot of people hear the art and the craft that you put into it, and at the same time being like, okay, I don't have to take a day job, I can focus and be able to create this art, you know?
It feels good. Say yes if you win it, man. And just get it how you live it, fam. It feels good. It feels good. Say yes if you win it, man. And Just get it how you living, fam. It feels good. Cheers when you win one, booze when you lose, gold when you go hard, bronze when you snooze. It feels good when they tell you that you killing it. It feels better 10 years later if you still in it. And all it takes is if you put your will in it, to put your all in it, no matter what your calling is. Of course, know that you might fall a bit. It gets ugly, acknowledge it, say yes. So holla back if you getting all of this. Don't get comfy, get funky, parliament. You get tarnished, get polished, learn tolerance. Keep promises, keep knowledge and push like street pharmacists. For accomplishments, be honest, keep modest when you accomplish them. Just be